Wait for it. Wait for it. Who am I? You sure you want to know? Who am I?
It's the Trusty Sidekick podcast with your hosts, Jay Washington, Bobby Hill.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome again to another episode of the Trusty Sidekick podcast. We are your Trusty Sidekicks. I'm your resident supervillain, Jay Washington.
And I am your resident hero, Bobby Hill.
So what's going on, man? How's your week been?
It's been crazy, man. We've been on the road together for a while now. We're finally at a point where we're like chilling after all this time. We drove all the way out from Chicago to Denver first, 15 hours in the car after doing 2 shows at Laugh Factory. Drove to Denver.
In the middle of the night.
Yeah, middle of the night, 15 hours.
Shifts.
Splitting off, falling asleep, waking up, hitting the side rotors on the side of the road, and we somehow made it to Denver. Did a show in Boulder Sunday night.
Shouts out to Boulder, Colorado.
Shouts out to Boulder. Brent Gill with a great show he puts on in Boulder, which is a lot of fun with Troy Walker and a bunch of those guys. That was cool. And then
so on to Vegas.
We took off to Vegas. Went to Vegas and did shows out in Vegas, which were a bunch of fun.
Shouts out to Jack Slammy. Was a great show we did there at Adrenaline Sports Bar and Grill.
Yeah, really took care of us, which was cool.
Real fun show.
And then we scooted on to L.A. You've now moved to L.A., man. Welcome to living in Los Angeles.
It still hasn't set in yet. You know what? I figured this is how I thought about this earlier today. It'll set in for me that I officially am going to call myself an L.A. resident when I change my live-in city on Facebook.
Yeah, that'll be the one, right? That's when you've surely locked it in.
That's when you know you locked it in.
Yep.
But, man, it was great because, normally we record these on Friday, which is this. So the Chirac, the movie came out.
Which you're in.
Yes, which I am in. Great
Not
part.
just an extra.
No, I play Be So Mighty, the right-hand man of Cyclops, played by one Wesley Snipes. It was a very, very good movie. The message, if people can get past the trailer and just the name, it's a great message ingrained in this movie in pure Spike Lee fashion.
It's the preconceived notions that everybody has, right? Like, there's a lot of people that don't like Spike Lee, which is fine if you don't like him. I happen to like Spike Lee movies, but, and there's a lot of people that don't get satire, and that's fine too. But I found the movie to be, especially like whatever the version is that we saw this time, because we saw before at Chicago Theater, whatever the version is that he's got now, I think is a lot cleaner, a lot more crisp, and really, I mean, it's a satirical look because things are ridiculous in the world right now, and sometimes you have to present things in a ridiculous way to kind of bring any light to it. And everybody's talking about it, which is the point, right?
Yes,
that's the point. At the end of the day, whether you liked it, whether you didn't like it, the idea was to create a dialogue and a discussion, which is what's happening. So even if we don't agree, if I don't agree with you on how you feel about the movie or Spike Lee or the fact that he made the movie in Chicago, even if I don't agree with you, the fact that we are talking about it means that the victory is already over.
It says a lot that you said that, because this being my first major motion picture, there's another one coming out next year, but I had to learn, I have to try to ignore all negative criticism. And it's hard coming from being the person that you are already to doing it now, because I'm used to, if you say something negative about something and I have a point of view on it, I'm going to sit there and let you know why I feel this way about that, why you should feel this way, and going back and forth. And it's like, it's a difference when it comes, especially with Chirac, because especially you have a lot of people who feel like it's, for some people, you have black people primarily, but you have other races as well. You have black people primarily who are saying, oh, it's exploitation of black people, this, that, and the third. And that's the furthest thing from what it is.
Right.
That's the furthest thing from what it is. But again, you've got people who've never seen the movie, who based everything off of a 2-minute trailer.
Yeah, or they're not familiar with Liz Estrada.
Not at all. Oh my God, that's the best part for me. People who aren't at all familiar with the Greek play Liz Estrada and don't understand what an adaptation is when it comes to film.
Right.
Now, granted, again, a lot of the feedback that I've gotten personally, thank you to everybody who's either tweeted me, Facebooked me at Mr. J Washington, everybody who's seen the movie.
Get that plug in.
Man, quickly. Everybody who's seen that, who's giving me love, man. And it's been amazing because it's come from the casual fan I may have met on the street or at a comedy show to some of my celebrity friends.
Well, here's the thing, too, is like, and you did a great job in the movie, by the way. Jay plays a character called Be So Mighty. He's Wesley Snipes' right-hand man in the movie, which is really cool. He's in a bunch of scenes. He's a hard guy to miss in the movie.
Very much.
When he's on screen, it's obvious, which is cool. He's a commanding presence, which is great. But the reality is that the difficulty that people have in their perceptions of this movie are based on the idea that they're not willing to understand that Spike Lee took a piece of written word that was already done, that's already out there, that's been around for thousands of years, and reworked it in a way to show an example of a thing. And here's what's important is that because this happens a lot with comic book TV with TV shows based on comic books and movies based on comic books, is people get very caught up in either the lack of reality,
literal translation
of one thing to another. And the reality is just like there's multiple, I remember growing up, and I'm not sure exactly how many there are now, but there are always multiple versions of Batman going on at the same time.
Oh my God.
There was always like the Amazing Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, Amazing Stories that and they were all like different versions and different timelines. And a lot of times what's contained in one comic book is basically an episode of a show, or it's, that 3-hour, 2.5-hour movie that you're going to watch is like a giant-sized story of what you would normally see in a comic book. And so I think people get lost in that idea that at the end of the day, this is really just an attempt to entertain and to take a piece of maybe written history or something that was on a page and translate it to a version that you can watch and try and touch on something.
I'll say this one thing, and then we'll get out of this subject. A lot of people that I've read keep going back to saying, "Oh, well, Trina did the story when they did A Miami's Tale in 2013." And here's my thing: don't ever bring up a damn thing to me about Trina in a movie. I'm talking about the rapper Trina.
Yeah, you're speaking to a very small audience right now.
First
of all, talking about Trina doing a version of it.
But people did that. They were like, "Oh, Trina did Miami's Tale in 2013. Spike stole it from her." And then I had to tell people, you don't actually understand. This
is
movie,
a play that's been done over and over again.
And this movie was going to come out almost 8-9 years ago, but Spike couldn't get the funding for it.
Right. And there's been attempts to try and put Liz Estrada on the silver screen for a long, there's been many ways of trying to adapt it and trying to get it done.
Yes.
It's a very ambitious thing to try and do it. So I thought it was a great movie. I thought it was entertaining. I was fine with the idea that it may not exactly be, it's not going to be right on point like that. But, I like how, hopefully people will realize that that's all that it is. It's just a movie. Just like some of the shows that we're talking about are just shows based on the comic books. And it's not going to be exactly like the comic book is. Speaking of one of the things that people get all bent out of shape for, the Batman versus Superman
new trailer that
Dawn of Justice trailer came out. And I thought it was, I thought DC really jumped on it when they put the footage on during Gotham, right? Like the original footage they put out there.
What you're supposed to do,
which was like, it was right after, the 1 week after Captain America Civil War trailer drops. They're right on top of it going, hey, listen, we got a movie that's coming out too that's going to be big. And then the trailer comes out. So I know you're not a huge DC guy. You don't like Ben Affleck as Batman.
I don't.
So I want to hear what you think of this trailer before I get
Here's the thing. I've already, my biggest issue isn't so much Ben Affleck as Batman. Let me preface that. It's I know DC is trying to rush because we're calling it Dawn of Justice, and I get what you're doing, but you're going to introduce way too many characters into one movie. Now, that's my whole summarization of the movie. Now, the trailer, first you saw the little clip that we did put up on the Trusty Sidekick podcast Facebook page where evidently there's some desert, Batman's being chained up, and Superman comes in, and he's got guards who are like loyal to him. I mean, he steps in, they drop to knee.
Yeah, and I'm not sure where in the movie that is. I'm guessing it's got to be pretty late into the movie, right?
I think this has to be before the fight.
Right, the big fight.
The big fight.
Right, which is all orchestrated by Lex Luthor, obviously.
Of course.
He's created this situation.
But he actually has a point. But
he's taking advantage of a situation. He's taking advantage of a situation. Because the setup is Bruce is upset because Superman screws up a whole bunch of buildings, namely a bunch of Wayne Enterprises buildings.
He tears up the city.
A bunch of people die that are obviously Wayne Enterprises employees, so he is skeptical of this alien dude who's shown up on the planet.
Now, so we got let's get to that teaser trailer. So you got that. So he goes in, he walks up to Batman, and what does he do is he pulls off the cast, the cowl and the mask.
Right.
He pulls it off and reveals it's Bruce Wayne.
Right.
Now, okay, so that leaves everybody in suspense.
Right.
So then, maybe 2 days later, we get the full new trailer where you see the introductions of Bruce Wayne to Clark Kent.
Right. And they immediately don't like each other either, they're just catty bitches. These dudes are
well, what
these
it
are
is,
the catty bitches of
but you know what I get and I like is how they're digging at each other without digging at it. Like you get Clark Kent talking about, well, what about this menace, this Batman menace in Gotham, and he's a vigilante and this and the third.
I have an issue here, okay? Unless that Batman mask is lined with lead, why does Superman need to pull it off? You have X-ray vision, dog. Why are you not just looking through the mask and being like, all right, I know you're Bruce Wayne because I have X-ray vision?
I see your I see your grace.
Why are you pulling the mask off, man? I know it's dramatic, but come on, dog. You know who this is.
That's really it. And then you get them two meeting, and then you get them at a dinner party or whatever the case may be.
With Lex, who's like Zuckerberg on ADHD.
He's like Michael Cera. He's like Michael Cera with ADHD. And it's interesting because they introduce Lex Luthor with hair.
Right.
Introduce him with hair. And he's neurotic.
Well, I've already figured out how he's going to lose it because obviously Lex Luthor is behind making Doomsday, you know what? Here's the thing.
Have you heard the theory that's not Doomsday? It's I can't remember. I just had the name on the tip of my tongue. The theory is it's not Doomsday directly.
I would be happy if it was, only because the idea of, I remember I bought all those comics when
he died.
When Doomsday killed Superman, I bought the entire series of comics.
Everybody did.
The death of Superman and all of the offshoot comics. I bought every one of them. The Steel dude, the Blue dude, the Cyborg guy. Like, I had all of those Superman comics. I bought all of them. And they never explained exactly they never really got down to Doomsday's origins. So I like the idea of it being a reworked Zod, like a Franken-Zod.
Because that's what Doomsday basically is. He's supposedly Zod.
I'm into it.
But here's the thing. Doomsday is supposed to kill Superman.
I know that's how it's supposed to happen.
And that's the thing. So let's skip past. That was at the end of the trailer.
Right.
The introduction of Doomsday is at the end of the trailer.
Right.
But you get the big fight where they are beaten. First of all, I just want to say this personally. There is no way possible. I'm sorry, Batman should not be able to keep up in a...
Lead helps. Kryptonite helps. If he's got access to lead and kryptonite,
first of all, lead's heavy.
I know it's heavy.
That's what I don't understand. How are you maneuvering in a
hydraulics?
Whatever.
Lucius Fox is a bad motherfucker. I believe in Lucius Fox.
I guess. Okay.
And then who shows up to help save the day? Perfect timing.
Wonder Woman.
And that is a badass hero move she pulls, where she's got the shield out and blocking shit. It's perfect.
She blocks Superman's rays.
And then you see a moment of levity between Clark and Bruce, right?
It was almost like that scene in the Avengers when you have Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor, and you get Thor versus Captain America, and then Mark say, "You want me to lay the hammer down?" And he goes way up, and then he strikes Captain America's shield, and this big ray just goes, and everybody just sitting there, and then Captain America's like, "So we done?"
Yeah, I like it. I like the introduction of Wonder Woman. I hope it turns out well. I know people don't like Ben Affleck, but if you just we'll forget the history just for a minute and just
I'm past his history.
Just let it be.
I'm past. See, again, I'm past. I'll give this 1 minute. I'll pass his history, but I always have said this in the movie translations. Okay,
right.
The movie translations. It has been extremely difficult since Michael Keaton to find a person who can be a perfect Bruce Wayne and Batman.
Right.
Since Christian Bale kind of did it.
I thought Christian Bale did the thing about Christian Bale is he didn't really have to be Bruce too often. There weren't a lot of Bruce scenes for him.
Yeah, there was more,
Bruce Wayne was pretty much Batman Christian Bale was pretty much Batman the entire time.
Yeah.
There was very little Bruce Wayne involved in what was going on there. I think you're going to get a little bit more Bruce here.
Oh, you're getting more.
Which is why I think Affleck is a good call for it, because he looks like he could be an older Bruce Wayne. I think that.
And then we're setting up. So we'll go in that because this movie sets up so much just in the trailer. Again, you still see the trailer of the Robin statue with the ha-ha-has on it. You see all that, but
you don't know where that timeline interacts with Suicide Squad either. So we're not really sure exactly whether because Batman makes an appearance in Suicide Squad.
Yes,
and you don't know whether that appearance happens before this whole thing goes down or after
or during.
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe that'd be an interesting take too. Here's the one thing I'll say about this with this movie, and then we can kind of get to the TV shows, is that there's a reason why it's easy for DC to kind of make this leap where they're introducing all the characters, and it's because Marvel's already proven that you can have multiple characters in a movie that works. They've already proven it, so there's no need to try and like test the waters and see if you can introduce characters. Marvel's already shown, hey, you can put a bunch of characters on screen and it's a movie that can work.
This is true. I agree.
So we'll see how that goes.
Well, we talked about where it came up. It came up during the mid-season finale, which you and I discussed was last episode.
Oh my God!
Why they're
what a crazy a mid-season finale. That's
the mid-season finale of
just
Gotham.
Put on a Christmas episode and let's roll. You know,
which used to happen.
Yeah.
The mid-season finale of Gotham.
Yeah.
Finally, we pretty much ended the Dumas story.
Yeah, that's over, which I'm kind of glad it is, because
it was drug out way longer than it needed to be.
I just, the idea that people didn't realize this dude was a prick from the beginning, and the
only person suspicious was Gordon.
Nobody does need background checking. See, that's what happens when you got them old ass computers and no Google.
Old computers with cell phones.
You see when Lee was getting ready to leave, and she leaves, and the car she's leaving in is like a 1968 Cadillac. Like, what era is this show in? I'm still waiting to find out what's happening.
I still hate the fact, I don't know how many people out there listening will feel this way. I hate the fact they called it the rise of the villains.
Yeah.
Penguin is the only
He's the only guy rising anywhere right now.
He's the only established.
He doesn't really have a crew.
No. I mean, you get Nick. We all know who Nigma becomes.
Right.
But again, you and I have talked about this. Everyone's discussed this. In order for this to work, Gotham has to go on for 20 years.
Okay, so here's an issue that I have, because Nigma's already been back at the police station since they've harbored Gordon, right?
Yeah.
So what happens now? Like, when Gordon goes back to the police station, he's going to know that Nigma's been chilling with Penguin. So, like, how are they going to maintain any type of a normal, like, office relationship that's going on? Like, how's that going to work at all? Here's some things I liked. There's an Easter egg that I really dug, and Silver St. Cloud goes in to try and convince Bruce that she loves him one more time.
Yeah.
And she starts asking what his favorite animal is, and he says owls, which I thought was cool, because that's a reference to the Owlman storyline, which was, that goes back into some things that deal with the Wayne history and everything that goes like that, which I thought was pretty cool. I wonder, I'd like to see them somehow bring out Azrael at some point, because the Dumas family line goes into Azrael, which is something that comes along way after Bruce Wayne gets his back, after Batman gets his back broken down the road in the comic book. So who knows how that could filter back in at some point, which I think would be interesting.
Yeah, and the other thing they introduced in this, since we basically got through everything, I mean, you got the death of Galavan.
Galavan's done. Yeah.
He's done. You have the monks all pretty much gone.
The monks they're just dead and defeated, right?
They're just dead and defeated. That's it. They're done.
The old cat who I love, that guy, he's a great character actor, just chews up scenery all the time and everything he's in.
Oh, of course.
He's gone.
He's gone. Now you have Lee, Gordon's fiance, girlfriend, pregnant, of course.
Out the door.
Well, you know why they did this, though? Because she really is pregnant in real life, and they really are engaged. The characters are actually engaged and pregnant. So to write that in a storyline, I get it. But
are they going to name their kid Barbara? Is that what they're going to do?
This is what I don't understand, because we had Barbara Keene, who everybody was like, oh, is that his wife? And then it's like, okay, now is this the girl that becomes...
What if he marries Lee and they have the daughter and they name her Barbara?
Of course they're going to...
They got to name her Barbara,
because she has to be... But again, that means she has to be... Well, is that about the right age? Again, we're not going to talk about Gotham's timeline age.
You can't figure out timeline, because here's the thing. This show, they introduced... So there's two things that were cool at the end. Bruno Heller obviously is doing some shit in the background under the Wayne Industries umbrella, because that's where Galavan ends up.
Right.
So does that mean he's dead? Does he come back at some point? That's
Galavan's dead.
Yeah, but they're doing some weird stuff back there. They keep taking bodies away. Who knows how that's going to play out?
I hope they do not try to introduce the Lazarus Lazarus pit somehow, some way.
Additionally, they introduced Mr. Freeze already as a grown man freezing people up.
Yeah.
He's already freezing cats.
My problem was he looked too much like Firefly.
They have to believe that there's no way that this show will last long enough to see the Bruce Wayne kid ever grow up to be Batman.
Because
there's no way this timeline will work. It's just going to be Batman fighting a bunch of guys who are
senior citizens
catching pensions at this point.
He's fighting everybody on AARP and they're mad at the government.
It's just ridiculous.
Bruce Wayne against Obamacare, or I don't know. So, mid-season finale, what did you think as a whole?
I think I'm glad they wrapped up the Galavan stuff. I'm glad they got that done and over with. I think that's a good idea. They've moved on from that. Silver St. Cloud is gone. The sister's gone. Mm-hmm. We're on to a whole new deal now. We can start over and figure out who's going to terrorize Jim Gordon for the rest of the season. And what Bruce is finally going to find out on that computer, because as you know, Lucius Fox said he fixed the hard drive. Right. So we'll be interested to see that. Yeah, I like it.
Let's switch gears. Let's go. Well, let's stay on the DC realm. We were super excited about this last week when we talked about it. And it happened this week. The Arrow Flash crossover. Man,
it's like now that every season starts, knowing this is going to happen. I know it's only season 2, so we're not really. But like now that every season starts,
for Flash now.
I'm super excited about this part of the season now. This is like the highlight move of the season.
They build these, and from last year,
they did such a great job making these things happen.
So for those who didn't know, we kept talking about it, and we seen it. The introduction of Kendra Saunders, who is Hawkgirl. But the beautiful thing was we didn't know how they were going to play it. She didn't know
that she was Hawkgirl.
She was Hawkgirl.
She's a reincarnation, which is one of the variations that they've used to describe how the Hawk people work, right?
So you have the Flash episode where you get Cisco and Kendra at Jitters.
Cisco's terrible at keeping a secret.
Well, let's get to it.
This dude can't keep a secret at all.
No. Let's get to how it happens. They're on a date, and all of a sudden, Vandal Savage, first of all, who comes off a ship, killing people out the jump.
Right off base.
Shout out to what's his name that's playing the
he's a great. He's got the best.
Crump.
He's got the best actor name of anybody.
Casper Crump.
Casper Crump is his name.
Plays Vandal Savage,
which is the greatest name. They should have just introduced a new villain named Casper Crump and skipped the whole Vandal Savage thing and be like, this actor is so ridiculous that even we had to use his real name and everything.
Yeah, and I think we all would have dealt with it. So you have Vandal Savage comes in, he out the gate, gets off a ship, starts killing, looking around, catches Cisco and Kendra at Jitters. Yeah. Now, Cisco tries to be tough.
Right.
But what he's doing is stalling so he can text Barry.
Which is a true punk move. I mean, that's what you got to do, but it's a punk move.
No, it's called, I know better. I can't. All my power does is make me see into your past.
That's the worst power ever.
All I can do is see do you remember that old show, Nightman?
Yes.
That came on the WB where his power was, he was a jazz dude that got struck by lightning and all he could do was see into the frequency of evil.
It's just, what is the point?
He had some electromagnetic boots that made him fly. The worst thing ever.
I mean, that's not even good sidekick material. You know
my God. He wasn't even, he was one of them superheroes. You like, yo, you die soon, please.
So Flash shows up at Jitters.
Stops Savage real quick.
Gets Savage to go away.
And this smart Cisco goes, thank you, Barry.
Right in front of her.
And you see Barry go, fam, really?
Yeah, not good at keeping secrets.
So
that's, you know how you got to turn the timeline back a lot when you got a dude who can't keep your secret identity secret.
Well, everybody knew who Oliver Queen was.
Yeah.
In the first
they didn't
season,
even try and hide, like, even when they bring Kendra around, they didn't even try and hide his identity from her at all. Like, nobody cared.
They was like, yo, listen.
Yeah, this is a deal. Here's who everybody is.
So it got better.
Also, like, they should just give away everybody's secret identity.
But it got better. So this is one of the parts that tickled me.
Yeah.
So after they take her back to Star Labs, introduce everything, and try to figure out what's going on.
Right.
It was something mystical. So we need to figure out who can help Mystical. They go to Star City. And, of course, you got Oliver, Thea, and Diggle about to take on the Hive and Damien Dark. Damien Dark just walking around stealing souls.
He's just taking souls from people. Just good night. I'll take this. I'll take this. I'll take this.
Again, funniest part to me, because again, this crossover episode, I've noticed when you have things like that, the humor in these episodes are high.
Right.
So you have Oliver shoots 2 arrows down, and Damien Dark says, "I thought we already went through this," and he didn't realize that these were magnetized
I love that
arrows.
He's so casual about it.
So, but the best part was Felicity, who's in the arrow cave, talking about, "Yeah, Felicity, these magnetic arrows aren't going to work. I know they're going to work because I'm a genius." And
right.
And you hear Oliver say, "Honey."
The gun arrow, right? The gun magnet arrow.
Yeah. You hear Oliver say, "Honey, this doesn't help me fight."
Yeah. We're in an open channel right now. Everybody's listening.
Everybody's listening. Can help me fight. So then you have him start to fight Dark again, and Dark just does the touch his soul. Shouts out to the soul touches. C Red, Marche Rocket, Acid Jazz, Willie Bomb Richardson. I had to drop them quick plug real quick because we say touch his soul. But he started like, "Yo, I thought we was gonna play this game," and then Barry comes and snatch up Oliver, and Damien Dark just smiles, goes, "Wow, what was that?"
I love it. I like that he got hit with some stuff where he's like, "Oh shit, I don't know what the hell that was. That was new. Okay, I'm good, but that's some new shit right there."
That was new.
Then Diggle throws up outside.
He's like, "I never get used to this."
So here's one of the things I noticed about the episode, because I know you're very good on details. I like to pick up on some of the subtle things. The cinematography in this episode is outstanding.
Yes, it is.
The cinematography in this episode is outstanding, and of course I didn't do my research to find out who did the cinematography on it, but whoever handled the cinematography on this episode,
I think they did both episodes. I'm assuming they did both because it looked beautiful. It was in sync. It was cohesive. Again, shouts out to James Bamford, who directed the amazing
fight scenes.
He directed the fight scenes again. Shouts out to James. But we watched it, and then so you see all this happen. You see the introduction of Vandal Savage. They're in the Arrow Cave now. Everybody they haven't had Vandal introduced completely. So they're in the Arrow Cave. You got Kendra, Cisco, who walks in the Arrow Cave, and the first thing he says is, "What is this? Did you all not read the specifics? Did you not hear? Did you not get what I sat there and I put out for you guys?" So it was so hilarious. He's like, this ain't the specs. This is all wrong. And so it was funny, but then you get everybody standing there trying to figure out, then all of a sudden the lights go dark. You think it's the power overload. Comes back up. It's Ra's al Ghul.
Ra's al Ghul, get it right.
Ra's al Ghul. And the League talking about, no. You don't have any idea who you're dealing with. And then Barry like, who the hell is this?
Yeah, and what's up with Ra's al Ghul knowing who Vandal Savage is? This whole, like, you think at some point you get a little download of all the different cats that might be out there, right? Like, hey, Merlin, maybe you want to let us know.
But I don't think he will. That's the thing. I think with
Give us
him
a rundown of everybody going down here so we know what's happening.
I think him being Ra's al Ghul entitles him to knowledge of a lot of stuff that's been happening for years.
Maybe you might want to share that information when Hawkgirl shows up on the scene.
But I don't think, he's not going to share all that. So let's go into the episode. You get Vandal Savage. You get how far did this one go? Because I don't want to run into both.
By the way, Stuart Whalen is the director of photography on the episode. That's the guy who did it. I was willing to look that up for you, Stuart.
I appreciate that. We appreciate that, Stuart, in your episode. So you get Vandal talk. You get Merlin talking about who Vandal is, and then afterwards you have. You have Cisco reveal what he has to Kendra,
right? To
let her know, chick, you got wings,
right?
She's like,
okay.
She's like, huh, what? But then the part where it goes, because this is where it transitions, where you have Cisco and Kendra on top of a building talking, right? Then all of a sudden, she's swooped up by another dude with wings.
Yeah, now Hawkman's in the scene,
right? So then let's switch over. By this time, now we're on our way into
we're getting into Arrow.
The Arrow episode. Hawkman introduces himself, Carter Man. I was formerly known as...
Also, another thing that's happened before we get out of the Flash episode, and that is Ollie got a baby.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Ollie got a baby.
Well, you kind of knew it if you watched the... Pay no attention to the beeps in the background, ladies and gentlemen. We'll deal with all that later. We'll tell you what that is about. If you watched it previously on the Arrow and the Flash,
right,
when they did the back synopsis, then they went right into Moira Queen paying his girl his one time hit it acquitted.
Right.
But the best part was
a lot of money.
Oliver looked at Shorty and was like,
for sure, that's mine.
Hey, fam. He didn't even think twice.
There's no question about it. It was just like, yep, that's mine.
That's me.
Definitely me.
So you go and, like I said, you get Hawkman introduced. You go into the episode of Arrow. Now you've got Oliver confused. He's got a kid. You've got Hawkman introducing who he is, and Kendra looking like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, nobody's figuring out, like there's a lot of debate over Kendra assuming her powers, over trying to figure it out. Hawkman's, I mean, he knows what's got to happen, right? He's already figured out who he is. He's emerged, as he calls it. She's got to figure out hers, and the only way to do that is to get tossed off a building.
But I would like to know, I wish we could have seen, they would have did a flashback as to how he emerged.
Right.
You know, because again, he says they've died over 206 times. They find each other. How do you get randomly hit on the head like, pow, oh shit, I got wings?
Yeah, there has to be a moment where he realizes what's going on and takes advantage of it also, right? Like, he's got to be able to step, like, does he get knocked off a building? Does he realize he's got to jump off a building?
For those who don't understand, we're talking about knocking off a building. Carter has to get Kendra to emerge. Basically, Hawkman has to make Hawkgirl be Hawkgirl. So there's like, you have to be able to make your wings come up. So they take it to the top of a building, tell her, you just need to fall and fly. And Barry's like, wait a minute, we were done. Whoa. Everybody's like, no. Oliver's like,
and finally, Oliver's the guy who's like, you know what? Sometimes you just gotta let somebody jump off a building.
He's like, let this happen. So Kendra stands up and she's like, well, I'm not sure if you should do. And Carter's like, yeah, you really shouldn't. Whoop! And pushes her off, and she falls. Barry picks her back up, and he's like, well, it's going to take some more time. So fast forward, again, Merlin pops back up in the Arrow Cave.
Yeah.
Not only does Merlin pop up, Vandal Savage shows up somewhere. They're like, what's going on? They're like, we need to take him somewhere. And they find out basically we take somewhere. They go to a farm. Which I will say this, they go to a farm community in a sense.
Very Avengers-like.
Very Avengers Age of Ultron.
Very Avengers.
I was like, somebody saw the movie.
Why is it always off to a farm to go hide away, you know?
Because there's no cell reception.
There's so many warehouses you can go to.
There's no cell reception.
So many safe houses you can get to.
No cell reception. So, again, you have them at the farm, this, that, and the third. Oliver goes to see Samantha.
Right.
And picks up the baby's cap, and you think, oh, he just gave the kid back his cap.
Working slyly. This man's pulling hairs out.
Like, I'm going to get that. Barry, I need you to go ahead and run.
Getting DNA tests run.
And then...
How naive is Barry to not realize that they're running DNA tests on a piece of hair and it comes out to be a match? Like, what do you think he's trying to figure out, Barry? How naive are you?
Well, that's the thing. Barry,
do not sleep with Patty, Barry. If you're this naive about how babies come about, do not sleep with Patty, because you have no idea about how DNA tests work, about what that means.
Speaking of which, that's what I forgot about in the episode. Patty sees Wells. Let's go back.
The side story going on.
Yes, Patty sees Wells, doesn't understand anything about
Shoots him in the chest.
Doesn't understand anything about Earth 2, while Barry's still trying to get faster. So they're like, he got a bullet lodged in, and we need to be able to get out. If we don't get it out right away, it'll kill him. The Velocity 6 comes into play.
Right.
Velocity 6, for those who don't know, I know we're backtracking back and forth, but there was so much that happened in these two episodes. Velocity 6 is to supposedly help increase Barry's speed. But now Barry's not around. He's in Star City. Who can use it? Jay Garrick, who has a vendetta with Harrison Wells.
Hates Harrison Wells.
Hates him with the passion.
Partially because of this.
He takes it, he speeds up.
Saves his life, and gets it out of system. How do you get it out your system? Still not friends, though.
How do you get it out your system, though? What do? You start throwing up like he's bulimic and shit?
Took a long nap. Like every time you do drugs, you gotta take a little break afterwards, you know? Get a little high, take a little break, take a little nap.
Oh, man, I got all this nitric.
Got this Velocity 6 in my chest. Let me go ahead and take a nap, get a burger. We'll be all good.
Don't get me an In-N-Out burger. A big belly burger.
It's a second sleep. If you know anything about doing some drugs, it's the second sleep that makes you feel better. That's always the one where you're like, okay, good. That's the sleep that saved my life.
So
they got to come up. So the issues that are going on at this point is you've got a situation where Ollie knows he's a dad. He's trying to create a situation with Samantha that he can see his kid. She tells him, you can't tell anybody else, not even Felicity. So he can't tell Felicity, and this becomes a problem.
Felicity finds out from Barry.
Right.
Barry can't keep a secret. Barry gives her the DNA test results.
Right.
Felicity automatically knows what this is.
Yeah.
And so she tells Oliver, she's like, yo, you just not going to tell me? This after they set up a plan to trap Savage.
Right. They find the Betamax tape, which is hilarious. That's a hilarious deal. They bring up a conspiracy theory group.
Yes,
that's funny. That's a hilarious little aside where we got this little conspiracy thing group. They talk about the Betamax tape, which is hilarious because we're nowhere near Betamax technology anymore
at all.
I don't even know where you would find a way to transfer Betamax stuff over. That's not a thing that's going to happen.
I don't give a damn how much money you have at Palmer Tech.
But they go into the first battle with Vandal Savage, and Ollie's not got his shit together.
Keep in mind, we have to remember Kendrick finally gets pushed off a building. She doesn't push. I'm sorry. She jumps off. She jumps, gets her wings, and she's good.
Right.
So Ollie comes up with a plan where it's just Barry, Ollie, Carter, and Kendra to try to track Savage.
Right.
After he gets the Eye of Horus.
Probably a good pop group if you put them together.
The Staff of Horus. Shoo up, do up, shoo up.
The Superhero Quartet.
Oliver playing the bow. Get it, playing the bow. All right.
Anyway, we made this stupid.
We just made this real dumb.
So they fail. Vandal Savage.
Miserably.
They fail real bad.
They fail to the point where the world is destroyed.
Vandal Savage kills her and him with a quickness. They kills Hawkman and Hawkgirl so fast.
With the one jab, giggity.
And the only thing that saves Barry is the fact that he's so fast.
Barry, well, here's the thing. Barry gets the Staff of Horus. He figures out how to use it. Oliver helps, and Oliver's earned his place in heaven. You may not believe it, because he says, no, I can do this, you run. Well, Vandal Savage was like, you go run. Has this whole energy wave.
Everybody dies.
Everybody. But Barry running so fast, what does he do? Runs back through time.
Time hop. Love it. He time hops back, looks at his memories from 2 years ago. Stops in back at the meeting where they're first figuring out how they're gonna have to trade.
Oh damn!
Where they first meet with Vandal Savage and decide that they're gonna
with Merlin.
Yeah, with Merlin. They meet with Merlin and the Arrow. Decide they're gonna make this trade. They're gonna make this happen. Learn the insides of it. And then Barry takes a different route this time.
He's like, "Hey, listen, you have an argument with your girl,
right?
That kind of fucks up everything."
Yeah,
basically without saying that.
So this time they go in focused.
Yeah, they do it. The Hawkman and Hawkgirl combination is strong enough. They finally destroy Vandal Savage, and everybody
turn him into straight ash.
Just quickly ashed them. Supposedly Hawkgirl and Hawkman think they're free. They can go live their lives as, being heroes.
As stars
somewhere.
of Legends of Tomorrow.
Not yet. Not yet. Because of what happens next, and that's Merlin taking the ashes.
Scoops up the ashes of Vandal Savage.
Now,
you know he's going in the Lazarus pit.
He's going in Lazarus pit, of course.
Can you put ashes in the Lazarus pit and get a human being out of it? I hope so.
Evidently, you're going to get it. Clearly, you're going to get it this time. But here's the thing. It's like every time you think Merlin is set to do good.
Right.
Because remember, he tells Oliver when it comes time to make his plan against Savage, he says, listen, if you jeopardize my daughter.
Right.
I'm going to kill you. I'm going to make you and everyone regret it.
Yeah.
And Oliver was like, oh, damn. Yeah, he can do that now. Like, it ain't just him anymore.
Yeah.
It's him and the entire league.
So now Legends of Tomorrow is pretty well set up. I think there's one more. There's the actual fall finales for these, or mid-season finales for these shows, I think, that are this upcoming week.
No, that was these, wasn't it?
No, the mid-season. You didn't see the preview?
Oh, yeah, that was.
Finale?
Okay, yeah, you're right.
So the mid-season finale for The Flash, he's fighting the Trickster, Weather Wizard, and Captain Cold, which I'm sure at the end of this will be Captain Cold's push to the Legends of Tomorrow, right?
Which has to bring over Heatwave too,
right?
So this has to be how they do that.
There'll be kind of a rogues gallery fight that'll lead them into their finale.
You got the Arrow finale, which will take Sarah and Ray over,
right?
Hopefully, because Sarah has to become the White Canary.
Well, I don't know if you saw the trailer for the preview for the mid-season finale. Dark takes Smoke, takes Felicity.
Please let it be that.
Kidnaps Felicity. So I don't know what that's going to lead him to do, but high level, Ollie, when he really gets pissed, it's a real problem for everybody.
You took my chick.
You're going to take his girl, you're going to be in some serious trouble.
So let's wrap this segment up real quick. It was saying this. We're past the crossover that was actually phenomenal.
Crossover's done. I like where the second half is going now. Now Ollie can really get down to dealing with Damien Dark. We're gonna get down to seeing what's really going on with Dark. Legends of Tomorrow set up. That'll run on its own come January. I'm interested to see where Flash goes because it looks like Patty's in trouble in the next Flash episode. So that dangling of the carrot of the relationship they've got going on and whether he's gonna have to reveal himself. I think he is a big deal.
That's gonna be the one thing I think he's gonna have to.
And then in the second half of the season, Wally West shows up.
Yes.
So Wally West will be in the second half of the season. I'm excited about seeing where that's going to go. Hopefully that turns into Kid Flash.
He has
two Flashes involved would be a lot of fun, I think.
Well, my thing is because we know that's who Wally West is. He's Kid Flash, which is Iris's little brother.
Yep.
So he's a speedster. Now, the thing is, did his mom ever move from Central City? Was he affected by the particle accelerator? Right. You know, it's going to be a bunch of questions.
Or is there a potential future accident that could make him happen?
Because, here's the thing. If that be the case, it's going to have to be the exact same accident that's going to turn Caitlin Snow to Killer Frost.
Yeah.
Because we're still waiting on that, pretty much. We're still waiting on that. So I think, I agree. I do think this season has gone thus far very well, both shows.
I like the growth of Barry as a sometimes comical, but always willing to get the job done kind of a character. He's always ready to take off and get the job done, but he can break down and kind of be comical from time to time.
He's more of, I'll say this, the Flash, the Barry character, Grant Gustin again, he's playing the hell out of it. He's more of the hero, as opposed to Stephen Amell's Oliver Queen, who's like, I'm a hero.
A brooding guy who wants to stop. Flash likes his job. He likes to be the Flash.
Yeah, he loves what he does.
Ollie would like to get to the point where he doesn't have to do
I don't have to do this.
Yeah.
Because there's no retirement plan for this. Again,
Flash doesn't have a vendetta. He just has an ability that he can't deny.
Yeah, and Arrow's like, yo, I just wanted to stop the city. I mean, okay, Damien Dark, why do people keep coming to Star City?
Right.
First of all, why? Why do you keep coming here?
Speaking of to move forward, speaking of someone who's got powers and responsibility they can't deny, Supergirl's getting good.
Yes, it is.
Supergirl's getting really good.
It is that. You know what? Everybody, again, I think we have to keep saying this every single episode because it holds true. Melissa Benoist caught all type of flack from episode 1.
Dude, the performance of Melissa Benoist in these later episodes, she is acting her ass off right now. This last episode where she's dealing with Melissa Flockhart's character and Red Tornado and emotions and what she's really angry at, man, she is acting her ass. I'm sitting there watching.
Flockhart is actually doing a great job.
She's doing a great job when they're sitting there when
drinking by the star.
Yeah, when Kara blasts off on her in the office and she's like, "Come with me right now," and they leave and they end up at the bar and they're talking about how to deal with anger. First of all, it's a great explanation of the male-female dynamic when it comes to anger in the workplace and what you can show and what you can't show. It's a great thing that they're actually covering that in a way that's I made that comment early on when we watched the first couple episodes where I thought that maybe they were dumbing down the message a little bit, but I think they really crossed the bridge when they in this last episode with the Red Tornado. The episode's called Red Faced, where they really kind of cover some things in a way where it's like, you know what, this is a point that people aren't actually making about how it goes down in the workplace. It's important to put out there about how women have to deal with that when it comes to their anger in the workplace.
I will say this, Mark Guggenheim, Andrew Kreisberg, Greg Berlanti, in all 3 shows, they've addressed a lot of heavy social issues.
Yeah.
Whether we want to openly admit them or not.
Some of it's heavy-handed, which is
some of it's slight.
Heavy-handed stuff.
Yeah. Supergirl is touching on a lot of issues that, a lot of people say there aren't a lot of female empowering things.
Right.
The Supergirl show in itself is showing a lot of female empowerment. And we're going to talk about another one in a few. Yeah. We'll talk about Jessica Jones momentarily because that's doing it as well. But Supergirl, when it talks about how to handle anger in the workplace as women, and, we don't have many things that show that. And again, people don't want to give the show the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
It's doing a great job.
Yeah, and we're not social justice warriors or anything like that. That's a thing that for sure as a guy I don't think about. And I've been in offices where I've knocked over a water bottle and felt like that was a thing I could do. But for sure, at some point in my life, if I'd have seen a woman doing that, I'd been like, oh, that bitch is crazy.
Right, you'd have thought about it, but
which is not fair.
It's not fair at all. But the way it's addressed in this episode is great. We just got some news yesterday. About a new casting.
Yeah, Italia Ricci is joining the cast in the second half of the season.
A silver banshee.
Yeah, she's playing Siobhan Smith, who apparently is going to be a competitor in The Office for Kara. In The Office for Kat's kind of affection, or Kat's, to gain Kat's trust, I guess, as the go-to person in the office. So she's going to challenge her there, and then she's also going to be this big baddie, which I think is cool. I'm excited about it. I don't know much about Italia Ricci's work. She was in the movie Don John,
I did not
which
see.
Now I am going to see. I'm going to have to go check it out now just to get an idea.
Gordon-Levitt.
I like Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and of course, I like Miss Johansson, but I'll have to check out Italia Ricci and see how she does in that, because that's the only other thing that she's in that I really want to watch.
The thing now with Supergirl, I will say this with the show itself, we were hoping for this. We said, again, we're only 3 episodes in, but we've even had conversations outside of the podcast where we're like, listen, I need for Supergirl to be able to stand alone.
Right.
I don't want to see consistently all of Superman's villains.
Right.
I need to know that if you're going to do this show, it has to stand alone.
Yep.
Speaking of which,
Toyman's coming in the second half of the season.
Okay,
also.
that'll be interesting.
Who, from what I understand, I believe is Wynn's father.
Okay.
He says something in this episode about how he has daddy issues,
and that sets up that,
which is a setup for that.
I don't know if you heard. I was doing some research. They want Guggenheim, Berlanti, and Kreisberg, of course, because they're the showrunners for all 3 shows. They want 3 DC shows that are good right now.
Right.
I can't count Gotham, unfortunately. They want the Arrow Supergirl crossover, but due to legal issues, because of the 2 networks, it may not happen.
Mark Guggenheim, are we wrong? Let us know.
Please let us know, Mark Guggenheim.
Tweet us at Sidekick Trusty.
Let us know.
Give us the insight. Kreisberg, if we're off on that, please give us a heads up.
You can DM us. Slide in.
We'll let everybody else know for you if we're wrong on that.
Right.
We can just admit that we were wrong or right. We can credit you, not credit you. Either way is fine.
We can have an anonymous source tell us.
Yeah, I like anonymous sources.
I do. I would like to see, because of the upbeat and bright nature of Supergirl, because it meshes well with the upbeat and bright nature of the Flash.
Right.
So those 2 together,
they seem like they would be fitting.
It would be very fitting, I believe. I believe it would be absolutely fitting.
Little Supergirl Flash romance.
No,
do you get an idea? Maybe.
No, because Patty will be trying to shoot that. Patty will shoot that chick, and then we got a problem. Have you ever noticed, though, just in the DC universe, this is the only thing I have with the city names in which all of the characters are
garbage.
They're all garbage, but there's still major cities out there. Like there's still there's National City, Star City, Central City, Gotham City, Metropolis. But then you still have your Chicago's, DC's.
Yeah, there's still Chicago, New York. It's just like, what if America had like 20 cities with 5 million plus people
in them? Like, what? What?
Yeah, I Supergirl's done a great job. I think they've done a great job. Their writers should be commended. They're doing great work there, and I think again they're one of those shows that by season 2 will probably fit very well into the universe that Guggenheim.
Well, it's called the Arrowverse,
right?
Because Arrow was the first show, so this is the Arrowverse. So
I like it. I think it's doing well. So that kind of wraps up the DC stuff for now, which is DC is really killing it, man. They're doing a lot of great things. I know that people don't agree with all the stuff they're doing. I think their TV universe is on point right now.
Oh yeah, they're definitely making moves with their TV universe. It's holding solid. We were, a lot of people were worried when Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. first came out, but Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is holding its own. Again, season 3, everything is just...
Man, the shit is hitting the fan, man. Everything's going crazy. You can see the restructuring of Hydra right now with Grant moving on.
Hydra will never go away at this point.
Well, now they've given some core to Hydra, which it looks like Hydra is going to be based off of the Kree Empire, right?
Yeah.
Like, because in the most recent episode, Powers Booth, who I love, who's another one of those guys who just when he's on screen is just like he's just a master, right?
Yes.
And he's obviously tied in with Hydra. He's been tied in with them for a long time. The Monolith and the Monolith stuff that's involved with that is all part of the space program, which I thought was a cool tie-in, which dates back to an alien race, which obviously I think is going to lead. I personally think that leads to the Kree, because the Inhumans tie in with the Kree.
There has to.
I'm waiting for them to I just want to see who's going to be Black Bolt.
Here's my problem. And I use this term loosely. we are, 2-3 years, if not more, from the Inhumans movie, though?
Yeah.
Do you think... I understand.
I like the slow build to it.
I think... here's my problem with that, though. I understand Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. needed something. Mm-hmm. They needed something to be strong to stand on.
Right.
And, again, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the bridge between all the movies.
Right. It's the sidekick.
It's Trusty Sidekick. I feel like I should insert a riff right there. Like, it's his Trusty Sidekick. But you have, again, we know, okay, the next movie is Civil War.
Right.
But, okay, does it fall?
I think this is important, though. The things that are happening right now.
I agree.
Because the ATCU is pushing, especially with Powers Booth's character, is pushing more of those fish pills out into people. They're creating more Inhumans, which I think is going to matter when you have this Superhero Registration Act, because all these people with powers, we talked about that before, about wondering how people like Jessica Jones are going to fit into the Registration Act. Well, how are the Inhumans going to fit into the Registration Act? What are the ripples that are going to come from that if that happens to pass or becomes a thing? Or where is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. going to go when it gets to that point and has to discuss those things? So I like that. I like where it's kind of going with that.
Speaking of Jessica Jones, what episode are you in?
I am on episode 5 right now.
I am finished with it.
Yeah.
I finally finished it.
And here's the thing. We can only talk so much about it because, well, real quick to wrap up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. before we get into it. I think that I love, the whole May and Turmoil thing is good. The Fitz and Simmons love story is super. I love it, dude.
I've been waiting on this since season 1.
It's so neat to see how that's going. I like how it's setting up the Inhumans with the Registration Act. Mm-hmm. I think the ties in Civil War. I think it sucks that Constance Zimmer's dead.
Yeah,
I like Constance Zimmer. I'm a big fan of hers.
They killed her in the first 5 minutes.
I thought that sucked, man.
Yo, but why did he kill her? Like, remember the movie Wanted?
Yeah,
he killed her
from a distance. From a distance.
I was like, oh.
But a woman who is still alive, Jessica Jones. I'm 5 episodes in. I love it. I like how her and Luke Cage are just fucking up beds everywhere. They're ruining beds, man. They're on it. But that's not the biggest point of the show. The biggest point of the show for me is, I think, and we talked about this on the drive out, I think the interesting thing about this show, that it's tackling in a way that no other show that has a female lead kind of tackles, is something that I think happens, from what I understand, happens to women a lot, that I've heard women say happens a lot, where they have encounters with guys who have some type of
control,
create a realm of some type of control. Now, a lot of that's built in patriarchal stuff. A lot of that is self-esteem issues. But they get in these situations where men exhibit a form of control over them and their behaviors, what they like, how they spend their time. And it's not until they finally get away from those guys that they realize that they've been manipulated the whole time. Now, it happens the other way around, too. I've been manipulated by women. Jay's been manipulated by women. It happens the other way around. But a lot of times when a woman talks about a man manipulating her, it's very hard to get even other women to believe her.
Yes, very much.
And that is the element that's going on in what I see with the Purple Man's interaction with her and with Hope Schlottman. It's this element of the idea that a man can manipulate a woman, and it's very difficult and they exploit it in a way that makes it believable, because now this guy's got superpowers of suggestion.
Right, but the way they do it is because of course it's Marvel.
It's a great metaphor.
We need the superpower element, but when you listen to it, you're like, oh my God. It
helps tell the story.
But you're like, this is what happens. Then you have the PTSD that people experience afterwards, the not being able to rebound on your own because you realize what torment and torture you've been through.
Yeah.
Now, I know it seems like Bobby and I are going on this whole social justice issue again, but again, you have to look deeper into Jessica Jones than just what you see.
Yeah.
Kristen Ritter is amazing.
She's killing it. I was so worried about her, but she is killing it
in this. I mean, it is just phenomenal. It is 5. Where 5? Because I know I'm done with the whole thing. So episode 5.
Episode 4, that's where she's finding out that her junkie friend is taking the pictures of.
Okay, she found out Malcolm.
She finds out that pictures are being taken of her.
And she finds out it was Malcolm.
She finds out that it's Malcolm who's taking the pictures. So that's where episode 4.
By this time, Simpson's already been established in a thing.
Right.
If you don't know who he is, you'll find out later that he becomes his own supervillain.
Yep.
He's the opposite of Captain America because, of course, every everybody keeps trying to recreate the Super Soldier Serum. Everybody just like, no, we can't let it just be one.
At this point, we've seen elements of Hellcat. We've seen Trish and the fact that she's probably going to end up becoming Hellcat at some point, which I think is cool. Mm-hmm. I think, like I said, there's that great metaphor there of using superpowers to display a thing that women talk about all the time that people have a hard time believing. So I think it's really cool that they kind of access that.
I'm excited
to watch the rest of it.
It is a great story.
If we can, I'm going to try and get through the rest of them by next week, and then we can really kind of get into discussing
please do.
Easter eggs and all the things involved in the show.
I wish you would please do.
Well, we need to, because Agent Carter is going to be coming back out soon, and The Legend of Tomorrow is coming back out soon, and we want to make sure we get all that covered.
Yes, you have. I need Bobby to get done. I'm already done with the entire show.
Well, we've got mid-season finale, so sometime in the next 2 weeks we'll have all these.
Is that everything we were going to talk about this week?
That's everything we were going to talk about this week. We've covered all the things. I'm excited. I'm excited to see more stuff from all these shows. I think they're really, there's not any shows who are kind of like who are just faking it right now.
Everybody's doing good.
It's Gotham, as weird as it is, it's still sticking to what it is, right? Gotham isn't getting away from what it is. It's not decided to do something different. It knows it's crazy. It's staying in there with the crazy. The Flash and Arrow thing, Arrow is like, they've got a formula figured out for that. They've got a formula figured out for Arrow,
definitely.
And they're making that happen. Flash is continuing on with what they're doing. I like the way that they keep introducing different characters. Supergirl is very much playing out like episodic comic books right now, where every episode kind of moves the storyline along, but also every episode when it's over, you're like, yeah, that's like me reading a 35-page comic book.
I think that was the basis of what DC needed to do, especially being on CBS.
Yeah.
They had to play it out in that way.
Well, I think that's a thing that people have to remember when they're watching these episodes, and they're like, wow, they really wrapped that up into a nice little bow. Yeah, that's how most comic books work. Most comic books are episodic, where like you watch.
Try to say that word.
Episodic. Okay, that's the word. But there's a storyline that's underlying that's going to carry on through to the next book about some private relationship stuff. But overall, the bad guy shows up. They figure out a way to deal with the bad guy. They deal with the bad guy. They move on. Maybe that bad guy will show up a few episodes later, but they're just handling business for now. And that's kind of how these episodes have to work. They're procedurals. For episodic procedurals. That's what they are. I said both those words, didn't fuck them up once. Pretty proud of myself. We're doing
That's why I let you go, because I figured if I stopped you at any point, those words were going to get trashed.
What you got going on this week? You're now in LA. You're now in LA resident. Rack is out. You're a star.
Man,
what's going to happen? Are we even going to get to talk anymore? Am I still allowed to be in your presence? How's this work?
Listen, you have to set up details with my assistant.
I got to call Jay's publicist to see if I can get
No, actually, right now, it's a matter of just me, filling out the scene as far as stand-up goes. Doing a lot more, with the movie being out. A lot of people want to put me on stages this and the third. I'll be in Long Beach on next Thursday at the Cervello's.
What date is that? Just so
the 10th, I believe.
The 10th of December. Thursday.
Dude, I still can't believe it's December. The 10th of December, yeah, I'll be at Cervello's out there in Long Beach, working on some more dates for some more shows and all that out here. So trying to get that together. I would say everybody just normally do the normal. Follow me on social media.
Yeah. And for me, go to itsbobbyhill.com. The website is up. There's dates on there. I'm adding stuff as we go. I'm kind of just, December's a month where I kind of chillax and kind of like go to some open mics and see some different places. And I'm in LA for the month, so I'm just enjoying my time here.
Which I still have to get. Here's the funny thing. Bobby is going to actually hold on some of my stuff I have in storage that I got to actually pay the bill on.
Yeah, pay that bill.
Damn, I forgot I got to pay that bill today. Uh-huh. I'll pay that bill. I got to pay that bill so they don't lock my stuff out, which is only, at the end of the day, I got some stuff in storage. I got over 200 DVDs. Don't judge me. Black Friday sales. And I have my Deathstroke costume from 2 years ago. And that means a lot to me.
How big of nerds are we? Jay's got a Deathstroke costume.
Jay paid $1,500 to make over $1,500 to make his Deathstroke costume.
So if you're wondering whether we're into that nerdy shit, we're into that.
We're into
shit.
That. Also. So, but yeah, it'll just be a matter of getting different things together here, doing different things, getting acclimated with everything. I'll say this before we get up out of here. I went to go buy some eggs this morning, right?
Yeah.
And I was just looking at eggs and just seeing how much they were. And I ran into some organic eggs. I was like, okay, California, everybody wants to eat healthy.
Got to be healthy.
Man, the damn eggs was $9 for a dozen.
They better still have a chicken inside.
No,
they better give you a chicken that makes more eggs for $9.
I will eat eggs that will have me make my own damn beak. I will lay my own fucking eggs for $9 a carton.
I don't even want to ask you what store it was because I don't want to publicize that store.
I don't feel like they need to have any advertisement at all.
How can people find you, man? What's all your stuff?
Find me on my website. Lord, I'm so tongue-tied. I had a lot of coffee finally, and I feel good. My website, jaywashington.com, JAYWashington.com. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Mr. J Washington, MrJaywashington. I am in the Spike Lee joint, Chirac, out in theaters now.
Go check it out.
Go check that out. And Bobby, how can they find you? Said everything, your website and everything?
Yeah, website is itsbobbyhill.com. On social media, it's mocha_Jesus. That's Twitter and Instagram. You can find me at Bobby Hill Comedy on Facebook. You can find the Trusty Sidekick podcast. If you go to Twitter, it's at Sidekick Trusty. It's the Trusty Sidekick podcast on Facebook. And if you go to trustysidekick.libsyn.com, you can find all of our episodes and check us out there, guys. Thank you so much for listening to us today. I've been your hero, Bobby Hill.
I'm your resident supervillain, Jay Washington. This is the worst good cop, bad cop ever.
And we'll catch you guys after next week's episodes.
All right, guys. Take care. We're out of here. Peace. What, did you say love you?
I did.
Did you just
I love them. Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah. Oh, very quick. If you want to, hey, listen, if you're an actor on one of these shows, we need guests. Find us. I know you probably stopped listening by now because we said we're out of here, but if you're still listening, if you are interested in talking about your show, your character, your show on our show, you can talk about whatever you're allowed to reveal or not allowed to reveal. Hit us up. We'd love to have you on. Thanks so much, guys. Still love you. Bye.
This is awkward.